Ness is a skill character, I will say, because nothing. It's like a dance. It's like there's rhythm and things you have to do to execute his moves. He is not an all-rounder. He is not good for someone who's just starting. And, you talk about the yo-yo, but I think his be-up move is more challenging.
Yo, junk!
Listen, you jerk. We're talking about the boy who lived, kind of.
Listen, you jerk. Sorry, that just made me laugh. Listen, you jerk. Ness is about as annoying as that yo-yo kid in the corner of your middle school. Push him in a locker.
Hey, we're here to talk about Duncan yo-yos. Duncan yo-yos. They were the yo-yos that you could throw and they'd spin forever. We're talking about Ness. Yeah. Ness is the final unlockable character of the original Smash Brothers 64. And you got him, I believe, this was the tougher one where you had to keep your stock. I think you couldn't die.
Yeah.
64 Ness unlock. But again, a crazy inclusion. Although it's a crazy inclusion to me. It just doesn't. He only had one game.
Right.
But technically he only had one game in America. Because Ness is from EarthBound. And EarthBound was a game that is a cult classic now, but was not released to much fanfare back in the day, but is just a wild experience because it's the deepest video game that had come out like at that time. The person who made it came from a whole other world, and he had made 3 of these. They're referred to as the Mother series. So Mother 1 was Japan only, and starred a character who looked like Ness, but was not Ness. But looked just like him. Had the hat and everything, psychic powers and whatnot. The playthrough was similar. Then EarthBound comes out and stars actual Ness, and he's just a kid with a baseball bat and a yo-yo who gets psychic powers and like goes on an adventure. There's a lot to him, but it's a lot of the world that happens around him. He's one of those silent protagonist types, but in a just truly weird game. Like EarthBound is weird, and I love it. It's also got some very adult themes and very strange themes and whatnot, and that are continued on in Mother 3, which also spawns a Smash Bros. Character later on. But Mother 3 is a game that will never even be released in the United States because it has some taboo content in it. So it's just a very, very bizarre series of games, but they are a lot of fun, and the lore is incredible. They're fun to play, and they almost are like childlike in some parts, and like the way that the graphics are and the way it looks, it's an oddity altogether. So again, very weird that they chose him to go into a game like this, but he's the only little boy, and there was a lot of little boys playing.
That's true. Hearing that there's a Japan only game actually makes it make more sense to me.
Yeah.
Just because obviously Nintendo's a Japanese company. So maybe Ness was, bigger over there. So that actually makes a little bit more sense to me. But yeah, I think Ness is accessible. And I think it's another way for them to experiment on, potential future options. The controllable projectile thing. I think that ends up becoming pretty prevalent in the later games. So I think that was the experimental aspect of him, and how the weirdness of him in that game is probably the draw there.
Yeah, so his predecessor is named Ninten. Ninten is the one that's on the original Mother.
Got it.
Exactly. And then, which I think Ninten is actually your dad in EarthBound game who's never seen. You've never played EarthBound, right?
No.
Okay. It's an RPG that is just bizarre in nature, but I highly suggest everyone take a playthrough. It's fun. It's interesting. You die at one point, and there's cool. You become robots and things. You're ghosts. There's all sorts of weird elements to it, but it all culminates beautifully in this story that is, essentially, something hit a mountain, and Ness goes to check it out with, his next door neighbor who's a little jealous of Ness for some reason, and that spawns into this crazy, otherworldly event of this thing called Gygus coming to destroy everything, and it's up to Ness and his buddies to figure it out. Like, there's just not much to it, and it's like your weapons. This leads into Smash Bros. Conversation. Everything in it is something that a kid would have. Your weapons are not, he doesn't suddenly get the Buster armor and the great sword or something like that. No, he has a baseball bat.
Right.
And he has an
electrified yo-yo.
Yep. And he has slingshot too in the game. I don't know if he has that.
I don't
think so. But it's regular stuff. You know, everything about it is normal. You know, you fight the angry punk, you know, or you fight the weird guy or the trash can or a literal bug like a bumblebee. Like those are your enemies in it. So everything's like kind of weirdly realistic. But then at the end, essentially what it's been deduced is that the end of the game is essentially like a birthing canal that you're walking through for Ness to be born. It's just this whole crazy thing. But again, he's in one game.
Right.
One. He's not even in this. He's not in the sequel. He's not in the prequel. He's in one game and somehow found his way into this Smash series. So another one of these characters that's in more Smash Brothers games than any other kind of game.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So the moveset that he has his trusty baseball bat. That is just like his Smash move. He has a yo-yo. And you have thoughts on the yo-yo.
I don't understand. I hate the yo-yo. I would play people that played with Ness and they would just so easily just bop themselves back on the map with it. They were so good with it, graceful with it. Like the creative saving throw with it. Like everyone's just hitting it. And then me, I couldn't get it to go straight. Like I don't understand how people got so good with that yo-yo. So that was a reason that I was kind of averse to using Ness, because everyone just was so much better at using that yo-yo than me. And I was just like, I'm screw this guy. Like, I can't figure this out. But yeah, like I would always get knocked off and I'd be like, this is the time I'm going to get it. And I would spin the yo-yo around and I would just completely miss and I would just fall to the ground. I wouldn't even try to do that backflippy thing. So it was just not a good time for me. I was just bad at it. Yeah. I don't like to fail.
This is well, watch the last episode. We failed pretty hard. Ness is a skill character, I will say, because nothing. It's like a dance. It's like there's rhythm and things you have to do to execute his moves. He is not an all-rounder. He is not good for someone who's just starting. And, you talk about the yo-yo, but I think his B-up move is more challenging. So he has, in EarthBound, there's things called PK. There's PK Fire, PK Ice, PK Thunder, PK Inferno, PK Flash. In this game, he has PK Fire, which is a B move.
Yep.
Throws a little bolt at you, and if that fire bolt, and if that firebolt hits you, it creates a little explosion. So it's a pretty good B move. And then if you hit B down, there is something interesting. I'm a Fox player, so I'm used to Reflector. EarthBound, he uses PK Flash, and I don't know if it does this in the game, but it's a heal, or maybe he uses PK Heal.
Isn't it? Doesn't he use PK Thunder?
That's B up.
Okay. I could have sworn that was B. That's one where he goes up like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So B down, move, B down special. Psychic Magnet. But what this is like a Reflector, except it heals you. I think it's the only healing move in the game that someone has natively.
Definitely in the
Whereas
first
if someone shoots a projectile at him and he has that up, he'll regain HP.
Interesting.
Or his percentage will go down, since we're talking about this game. I got confused because he's from an RPG. And then his B up move, this is the challenging one. So you're saying challenge with the yo-yo.
Yeah.
I'm saying challenge with his B up move, because B up in Super Smash Bros. 64 is the way for you to get back onto the map as your last ditch effort. So what Ness does is he does a regular little jump that's kind of dinky. Then he does like a psychic jump where he does like a weird, sort of up. And he's up there pretty high. But if you're too far away, you still need that B up move to get you. His B up move is PK Thunder, which with the first time you use it, you realize you can control this little beam of lightning that he's kind of sending around. You push B up and it just goes out.
Right.
What it doesn't tell you is that if you use that to hit yourself, it'll supercharge you and send you in a direction. So you jump, you do the psychic jump, then you hit B up, hit yourself with the lightning bolt, and that's how you go up further very high. You can also whip it around your back.
It's not the yo-yo?
Back and go through it.
It's not the yo-yo?
No, it's this little electric thing that he does. The yo-yo is his throw.
So you're telling me the move to get yourself back on the map by hitting yourself with it is not the yo-yo?
I am.
That's why I can't fucking use the yo-yo to do it, I guess.
Okay, so
I'm the jerk.
Pretty much. But a lot of people like to play as Ness. Ness has some cool moves. The baseball bat in particular, I think it's his home run bat that is the item in this game.
Yeah.
And because of that, Ness can also hit projectiles back at you.
Mm-hmm.
So, which I didn't know until much later, is like Ness can, if you're Samus and you shoot a big old beam ball at him, he can hit it back like a baseball right back in your direction. So he also has a built-in reverse projectile. He's pretty stacked when it comes to the moves that he has. But it's finesse because of the way he jumps. Right. And because of, you can see it right there.
Yeah, that floaty jump. I always liked it because it would get you out of trouble. But
amazing throw. I forgot about that. His psychic throw is unbelievable. And that he could just grab you and really affect you. Bam. There you see it right there. But we'll see if he gets hit off the edge. You'll see what we're talking about. But Dylan said that's bad podcasting for us to just watch it. So we're just going to leave it up for the kids at home to watch. And then if I see something at the corner of my eye, I'll bring it up.
I trust him.
That right there. The only thing I really want to see is his floaty move. But we'll see if we get it.
It's awesome to get away from stuff. It's just really hard to control.
There's the yo-yo. Yeah. So the yo-yo does exist, but it's not what you thought it was. This is it. Boom.
Okay.
That's all we needed to see.
All right. So I didn't realize that was an actual like a thunderbolt or something. I thought that was just the yo-yo lit up.
No.
Okay. So I'm not that dumb,
maybe
folks.
It could be the yo-yo, but it is like he's sending a thunderbolt. But the point is, you got to hit yourself with that thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And you do become, it's a good attack, and you become kind of invulnerable. And you can be very annoying with that if you want to.
Yep, certainly can.
But it's really, really hard to work with if you're off the map and you're just not that good with it. Right. Yeah, otherwise, you just look like that. You're just a kid, just like. Earthbound's rules. You should play Earthbound.
Sounds interesting.
Do you know anybody that uses Ness as a main?
No, I know a lot of people that were good with him, but never as a main. I don't feel like. I think
I know a lot of people.
My buddy
that did
Jason
secondary.
Stern from back in the day might have used Ness, or his little brother Adam. I can't remember. One of those two might have. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. If you're out there, comment if you were.
If you're out there.
Well, I meant anybody. Ness mains.
Oh. I know a lot of people who use him as secondary just because he's kind of fun to play with. If you get good with him, but like if I was in a match that mattered, no, not a chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance. But yeah, using the baseball bat, using a yo-yo, using electric. And then later on, he got his super move was like, I think it was PK Inferno or PK Flash. PK? He definitely had a PK Flash.
PK Fire, PK Thunder. I don't remember any other ones, but I saw Ness get used less and less.
Yes, okay. PK Flash is one that he had. It becomes his new move in Melee, and it's like this beam that can come over and he can kind of charge it up a little bit as he sends it. Importance to Smash, very important.
I would say so.
The home run bat being in the game.
Yeah, that entirely is a thing.
Mr. Saturn.
I'm also pretty sure.
Cool levels.
Yep, definitely cool levels. Again, like I said earlier, the controllable projectiles. I think that ended up being a pretty prevalent tool that a lot of different characters have in the later games. And it's also it's an accessible character for a young kid. Like you've got all these Nintendo characters running around. You've got Pokemon. You got Mario and Luigi, and then there's a kid that you may or may not know from his games. That's just a kid with a yo-yo and a baseball bat, just running around with a backwards hat, trying to fight all these cool Nintendo characters. He's accessible.
And they really should remaster this game, like with updated graphics and stuff like that. His original game, because he's looked better in this than anything that he's ever kind of been
also
in.
True.
But I think you're right. I think it's a good portal for a child to get into something like this. You know, sometimes you just want to play as a little boy.
Yeah, and then they ended up bringing.
Then you learn how to hit people with baseball bats, and then you go to jail.
Unless you win.
What?
The winner doesn't go to jail.
That whoever hits a person with a bat typically would go to jail
if you get caught.
That's true.
What's his friend's name that he gets introduced in the next game? Blonde kid.
His friend?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that they're from the same game. They looked exactly the same.
No, that's Lucas.
Yeah.
So
that's not from the same game?
Totally different game. They don't interact at all. I don't even think there's reference to. Well, actually,
next to each other.
That's not true. They do. Well, he's a palette swap. Lucas is definitely. Except he has like this weird little extendy stick.
Maybe that's why I assumed that he was from the same game.
He's from the same game series.
Lucas is.
Yeah, they're just not in the same game. Lucas is the protagonist of Mother 3.
Okay.
EarthBound is Mother 2.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah. And Lucas is a whole other can of worms because that like the Fire Emblems, like we had never seen that in the States until they put it in Smash. But they're just doing whatever they want.
As they should.
Well, I don't like Ness.
I don't have any problem with Ness. I don't like that I wasn't able to use his abilities properly, but it's just user error at that point.
Yeah. But that also kind of rounds out all the secret characters.
Yes, it does.
Smash Brothers 64, we've gone through all the characters, which you know what that means.
Moving on to the next one.
Going on to Melee. Listen, you jerk. If you're a little boy and you want to hit bad people with sticks and bats and thunderbolts, use Ness.
Listen, you jerk. If you want to piss me off, use Ness.
Young John.